Hi, it's a cold, snowy day, January 26, 2020 here in Nebraska. And as promised, here's a video on what I'm using for commuting in the winter. So it's like I said, it's January and the weather's been pretty crappy. I got my new bike about a week ago. It has been so bad that it's either been ice storms or snow. We literally had like 6-8 inches of snow on the ground, but I think it's finally drying up enough that I'm going to be able to start commuting again tomorrow. So I'm going to walk through. I spent a bunch of time figuring out and researching, I know, hard to believe, on what good winter gear works out. And that's what the intention with this is sort of the gear that I'm using and why and how. Because I figured out a couple things here and there. So with that, start with my helmet. Went through and actually figured out that Bontrager could fit pretty well on the right onto my helmet. So I have a light on my helmet and I have one on my bike, and then I also have a flasher on my bike. And then I also wear a giant silly vest because unfortunately I think most of the people here are smoking crack when they're out driving in the morning, or they're putting on makeup or eating a sandwich or playing Candy Crush all at the same time, and it's infuriating. So I don't know that people see me and I ride like I'm invisible, but still. So that is on the exterior. Then for headgear, we'll do gloves next. These are awesome. These are the inside of my expedition gloves that I used to use for mountaineering stuff, but I just took out the liners because there wasn't a lot there. Excuse me, I took out the shells, and then they slide into the pogies on the outside, and that seems to help immensely. I do have those little warmers if I need them. I've been down to as low as about 11 degrees with heavy wind. That was a really crappy day, but that seemed to help a lot. So that was on the outside there. And then I've got these expedition type socks. They're heat socks. That's actually what they're called, heat holders. They actually have done pretty well, and they do all right. So the boots that I've been wearing are these. I got these. They're called a Northwave, and I've been actually really happy with them. I just little things. I saw YouTube videos suggest that you cover up the bottoms, the holes, just because any extra wind or anything blowing in there is cruddy. But what's nice with these is you can see they're not too dirty, but they get they're waterproof, which is freaking awesome. So been really happy with these, and I just clip in, and they've been really comfortable. So they're okay. I have to use heat warmers if I get below probably 20, but below 20 for sure. I'll put little toe warmers in there and that seems to help a little bit. But I found that my feet and my hands were the biggest challenge. Everything else I seem to do all right with. So I tend to wear a base layer, and the base layer can be anything from as light as these, which are just compression tights, to I found these. They're lightly insulated in the front, just to stretch in the back. They're like a running tight, but they've been really productive, and that's sort of my base layer for underneath. Underneath on the top, I will wear a base layer of just a lighter fleece or poly type of setup, and then I do have other heavier fleeces that I wear sometimes with that. It depends on what's out there. If it's really cold, I will throw in, I've got a down jacket, or I'll throw in my Patagonia down vest, and I'll throw that in, and if I can put it in the pannier. The challenge is here in Nebraska, I could ride in the morning and it would be 15 degrees, and then that afternoon it might be 40. It's all over the place, so it makes it a little bit harder. For the pants, I've got a couple different varieties, but I picked these up and I've been really happy with these. They're a Perlizumi, and they're zip-offs, which I think will be good for down the season, but I can sometimes feel the cold blow in there. But they're waterproof and they're windproof, and that seems to be about half the battle. And then I also picked up. These, which are kind of, they're a lower end. I got them on Amazon for whatever that is, 4U Cycling. Yeah, 4U Cycling. And they were like 20 bucks or 30 bucks. And they're a little bit lighter than the Pearl Izumis, but they actually do pretty well. And they do well keeping the wind out. So I keep those rolling. And then I have found that this is not a, it's a Eddie Bauer windproof, waterproof shell. But I keep this on. My challenge a lot of times actually is I get too hot. So how I figure out how to handle that is, but still if there's a little bit of wind, it really bites. So I use that, and if it's really cold, I will actually put the hood on, and then I'll loosen my helmet up and put the helmet over that. And that seems to help a lot. So if I'm covered from here around, goes a long way. And then for my head, I have just an old school Carhartt balaclava that seems to help a lot. So that fits really well under my helmet. And then I use this headband. I look like a total geek with this, but I found I kept freezing my nose. I couldn't get my nose to feel comfortable with it. So I use this. I put the balaclava on. If it's really cold out, I put this, and that way I cover my nose. So at least I've got that. And then I've got my my sports glasses to keep my eyes covered. And then I do have an extra, just a lightweight, this is a gaiter or sleeve that I can slide over my face or wherever I need it. But the challenge is when you're breathing hard is still to not freeze up. But those things, I gotta tell you, I'm really pretty comfortable with the riding now. It's more than, as long as it's not icy. Icy sucks. Slushy's pain in the ass. And you just is messy and sloppy, and you slip and slide all over. But it's not terrible. But so the route that I do is I go through the park where we live, leave the neighborhood, go through the park, and most of the time it's dark because I'm leaving at 5:30 or 6 in the morning usually to get into the office. Go through the park. I can either go through some neighborhoods or to another park. So I can actually do about 3 to 5 miles of single track on my way to work, which is pretty cool for Nebraska. And then I've got a little bit on a highway, or a little bit on a major road, not a highway, but major road for maybe a quarter of a mile. Back roads through an industrial park, and then I'm on another bike path. And that's a concrete bike path, which is all right, that's fine. And then about another 4 miles into the office. So it's about just under 8.5, 9 miles, somewhere in there. And depending on what I'm doing. But then having the panniers, it's nice, so maybe I need to hit the grocery store, I gotta go to the bank or whatever. Having that extra, but again, it's trying to build my volume, building button the saddle. So, hey, if you guys had any value with that, let me know. If you have any questions, I'm all ears, I wanna help. But I gotta tell you, I'm excited to get my brain thinking that at 52, you know what, dude? You can be that eclectic guy who actually rides his bike to work and leaves his bike in the office. It's kind of weird, but I'm fine with it. So, thank you.